What's going on, Wonderful Alex and Dan, and today, yes, we're going to be starting a new series called Review of Movies, where I take random movies and I'll be reviewing them. And as you can hopefully see behind me, today we're going to be looking at The Thing, released in 1982 and directed by John Carpenter. Now I gotta say that this movie has a lot of potential, and it was really successful when it was released. So yeah, I got nothing else to say, but let's just dive right on to the review. So starting off with the review, might as well just get right into the cast. So as you can see here, so yes, of course we have Kurt Russell playing R.J. McCready, Keith David playing Childs, Thomas G. Waits playing Windows, David Glennon playing Palmer, Wilford Brimley playing Dr. Blair, the late Donald Moffat playing Gary, rest in peace, man. Richard Masur playing Clark, T.K. Carter playing Knowles, Joel Polis playing Fuchs. Ugh, God, it's out of breath. The late Charles Hallahan, rest in peace, playing Norris, or Vance Norris, whatever you want to call him. The late Richard Dystar playing Dr. Copper, and Peter Maloney playing George Bennings. Rest in peace, Richard. Now, of course, with this cast, this is pretty much just an all-around cast. Now, of course, there is more actors that played, that mainly played, that played the Norwegians at the beginning of the film. Now, fun fact, this movie is actually pretty much supposed to be related to The Thing from Another World, released in 1951. Now, this movie was mainly brought up because Carpenter really loved that film. He really loved the 50s version, but I feel like it mainly lacked of how it was supposed to really look. Now, mainly, The Thing from Another World is mainly just based on a creature, like an alien-type Frankenstein creature. As of course, now, there's not much to it, and he was thinking maybe he could just bounce off of it. So then John Carpenter took about 14 to 16 actors and just went on to Antarctica, where it was mainly filmed. Now, not most of it was filmed in Antarctica. Some of it was filmed in mainly hot places. That's why with them being constantly hot, because they're wearing winter coats in places that are just boiling hot. And yes, they did go to Antarctica to a research facility that they mainly filmed everything. And fun fact, yeah, there's also one stuntman that did most of the stunts in this film, Tony Cesare, who also did stunts in A Nightmare on Elm Street, as well as played Ghostface in the first two Screams. Now, this movie ended up with a budget of about $10 million, and then was released on June 25th, in 1982. Now, let me just say that this film, it's definitely one of my favorite horror films, and probably one of my favorite films in general, because there's no film of any other genre that beats it. Now, of course, now, I'm not sure if you can see it, but that's supposed to be one of the best effects. You can't see it. But yeah, I'll put a picture somewhere around on this side. But pretty much I'm showing that this movie has no CG since, this was the early 80s. This was 1982, and there's not really much really proper computers. So, of course, at this point, they just had to go for special effects. And let me tell you, these effects are amazing. They're both gross, disgusting, even though gross and disgusting is the same word. They're both gross, disgusting, and amazing, and absolutely horrifying at the same time. Literally, and as well as the contrast and value of the light, they barely add any light. And yes, at the beginning, they had the best effects with the dog transformation, hence these two dogs up here. Now, of course, there are some scenes where things went wrong. Like, for example, this picture right here, this is supposed to be a Norris transformation. And this took almost like 10 hours. This pretty much took almost half a day to film. It's pretty much like 10 hours to film. And why, you ask? Well, it's because it's sometimes John Carpenter would say cut in certain parts. That's of course where it's pretty much when the stomach opens and then everything starts shooting out. He was thinking it was kind of like something from Los Angeles. It was supposed to be like kind of like a waterfall show, kind of like a fountain show, what he didn't want. So of course they continued, and fun fact, what they used is something that you wouldn't expect. Like you think, it's just like rubber, gel. It's like rubber or what was it? Latex. That's what it was. It took me a while to say that. But yeah, so pretty much it was like latex. You think it's all that. There's more to that. There's even jelly that you used. As fun fact, they even hired they even hired like an amputee actor for the Copper death. For Copper's death, they as soon as his hand goes in, he rips out. It's fine that that's actually an amputee with a mask on his face, looking like Copper. And despite the fact, with all of this, it looks completely seamless. It looks seamless, and then it just moves on with the film. Now, despite the fact, the makeup artist of this film, and I did not write that down. Oops, I'm an idiot. But the makeup artist after this actually ended up needing help because he didn't sleep. He's fine if I didn't get any sleep from making this scene. From making this scene, they didn't sleep. He didn't sleep at all, and that was kind of a problem. But let me tell you, this is definitely one of the crazy. But definitely one thing for sure, all those effects and all that, with an amazing actor such as Kurt Russell playing the lead again, it ended up becoming one of the craziest films, and definitely one of the best horror films I've ever seen. And special thanks to John Carpenter, since he didn't use any CG since it was the 80s. Despite the fact he never really thinks of using CG, because mainly CG just kind of, it looks really fast and it just goes quick. But with this film, I gotta say, it goes slow, but it goes at a steady pace. It goes at a steady pace, and at this point, and it goes at a steady pace, but it feels like it's slower, mainly because they just want the transformation to be slower, and nothing's going so fast. Because just wait until you see the prequel for the next episode. You see nothing yet. That prequel is ridiculous, which is actually going to be something I'll be covering in a few days. But yeah, so pretty much in general, this was definitely just a film of just success and everything. Everything you want in a horror film. Anything you want in a film in general. And now for every episode of this series, I will then be giving, so after a good review, I'm going to give, after that, a final rating. So pretty much how many stars out of 10 do I love this movie. And yeah, so pretty much that's pretty much it. So, like I said, let's get into the final rating. So in the end, this movie had a lot of potential, had a lot of success. So definitely out of 10, definitely a 10 out of 10 stars, because this movie was just perfect. There was nothing wrong. There was pretty much nothing wrong with it besides, if you get scared easily, yeah, it's definitely terrifying and that kind of affects everything. But in general, this movie definitely was just amazing, It shocked me when I first ever saw it. And then from that day forward, it kind of just went at it. And just went for it. So yeah, so pretty much it. So thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Reacting with Daniel. And in the next episode, which I will be coming out in a few days, I'll be then reviewing the 2011 prequel, which is pretty much what happens at a Norwegian base they explore, which is all just distorted and destroyed. But you guys just wait, because you've seen nothing yet, because that one's quite ridiculous, but looks like I had to review it. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next episode. Goodbye, everyone.